Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So here we are seeing how Daksha reacted to the situation which he came across. We should also understand, before entering into the assembly, he is already envious of Lord Shiva. It is not that after facing the situation he became envious. He is already envious of Lord Shiva. So his mind is already contaminated with that envy. And now, over and above, when he enters into the assembly and sees that Lord Shiva does not get up, even though he thinks Lord Shiva to be inferior to him, because he is father-in-law and Lord Shiva is his son-in-law. So he becomes very angry. So already enviousness is there, over and above. Now he has become very angry. Now we see that he wants to take out his anger on Lord Shiva. And this taking out his anger, he is doing very tactfully. Idea is, why he is using this tact, or why is he acting tactfully, is to impress upon the people of assembly that I am not envious. Do not think I am envious. I am not ignorant. I am not speaking out of ignorance. I am telling the truth. You see. So, that means he is acting diplomatically, tactfully. For what? To show not his real colors. Because otherwise, the people in assembly will be able to make out that whatever Daksha is speaking, it is out of enviousness. So he wants to pacify that assembly before itself. What is the tact he is using? He is saying, now I am going to describe about the manners of gentleman. How a gentleman behaves. So, Prabhupada is saying his idea is to say very tactfully, I am going to describe manners of gentleman. So he wants to point out who is that ungentle in that assembly. His whole idea is to target Lord Shiva very tactfully. Later on we will see very directly also he will speak against Lord Shiva. Because how long that enviousness can be hidden? Isn't it? So his whole idea was to impress upon the assembly that he is right. in whatever he is going to speak or curse Lord Shiva. That was his idea. Prabhupada explains. So he's saying here, if you see, Sadhunam bruvataha vritam. I am going to speak about the manners of sadhu. Bruvataha vritam. Vritam means manners of saintly people, manners of a gentleman. So what is his thinking? Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that naturally this is going to affect a person who is not gentle, unmannerly person. It is going to affect him. And the assembly also might be, the people in assembly also, they may also become unhappy of what I am going to speak, because the assembly may not want to even offend an unmannerly person. So that means he is pinpointing very clearly. He has judged him. Lord Shiva is unmannerly. So that even if the assembly later on tells, what are you saying, Daksha? You should not be saying like this. He wants to prove before itself that yes, there is possibility that assembly might be unhappy because they do not want to offend even an unmannerly person. So that means he wants to point out directly, Lord Shiva is unmannerly. Criticizing Lord Shiva, who is actually spotless. You see? And he is saying it is out of not ignorance, not envy. You see? So that means even though he is in knowledge that Lord Shiva is spotless, he is still criticizing him. He knows Lord Shiva is spotless, but he is still criticizing. That is purely out of envy. And even though he is speaking, he is going to speak big words. Actually, it is all out of ignorance. Whatever he is going to speak will be all not based on knowledge, based on ignorance. So, in Krishna consciousness, it is very important that devotees should be straightforward, not diplomatic in their dealings. Sometimes diplomacy may be required, just like we find Raghunath Das Goswami very diplomatically dealt with the problem of his father and uncle, and it had created a situation wherein there were a lot of problems. His uncle and father had to abandon their house and go away, otherwise they would be imprisoned. So he saved that situation very diplomatically. Similarly, we find Sanatan Goswami also dealing diplomatically to get out of the jail. When he was imprisoned, he gave some kind of bribe to that jailer and told him that when you are asked what happened to Sanatan, so you can tell when I was taking him to, for natural call, he just fell down, something you can. So very diplomatically, Sanatan Goswami dealt with all these things. We see that how he was in the house actually reading Srimad Bhagavatam and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, but then he sent a message that he is not well. You see? So sometimes to deal with certain situations, diplomacy, tactfulness may be required. But we have to be very aware that among devotees, we should be straightforward. There is a difference in behavior, how we behave with devotees and how we may behave with public. There is a lot of difference. Just like, say for example, Prabhupada used to give this example. Devotees, they should be like lion in the chase. When we go out for preaching, we should be very bold. We should be like lion. But not with the devotees. There we have to be very humble. Isn't it? Similarly, when we are dealing in the community of devotees, we should be careful that this diplomatic behavior sometimes which we may use should not enter and become our nature, that we use this diplomacy even among the devotees. Among the devotees, we should be very straightforward. Sometimes in handling situation, even among the devotees, we can be tactful. Say for example, we have to be careful what words I am going to use. Let us say for example, you want to address one situation. There we should be careful about whether the words I am going to use are harsh, because even truth should be spoken palatably. You have to speak truth. You cannot be untruthful, but even truth should be spoken palatably. Say for example, you find a devotee and you see that he was careless in carrying out his duty. And you go and blast him. You're always very careless. Isn't it? The same thing you can say in a very tactful manner also. It's an etiquette, how to put forward what we speak, how we behave. All these things we have to learn. We can also say the same thing Prabhu, it would be more better if you could be more attentive to your service. I think next time you can be more attentive rather than saying you're very careless about your services. So there also you are speaking the truth, but you are speaking in a palatable manner, so that you do not offend, neither give an opportunity for other to offend. Another important thing we should be careful about is when to speak and how much to speak. Suppose you have noticed something which you want to address. It should not be, sometimes we immediately, somehow or other, we are not able to contain within ourselves and we just want to immediately give it out. Sometimes it will not be effective. You have to wait for a good opportunity to address the issue. We see that example in Srimad Bhagavatam. What is that example? Anyone remembers? That one Chitraketu's son passed away. So Narad Muni, he could have instructed him about the temporariness of this material life when he was asking for a benediction for a son. But he did not, isn't it? He waited for a time when Chitraketu had become little detached from that situation. So, even speaking the truth, you have to see when is the right time to speak, when it will be most effective. Say for example, you are angry and another person is also angry and you want to correct him at that time. It may not be a proper time to correct him. You should understand it will be a waste of your energy. Offenses will start. So better wait for the situation. Let the situation cool down. Later on, at an opportune moment, you can go and you can speak. Isn't it? So, devotee can be tactful in that manner. Not that this is truth and I want to speak the truth. No doubt, we have to be always truthful. But then, truth has to be presented with etiquette. In Vaishnava community, we also follow certain etiquettes. How we deal with senior, how we deal with equals, and how we deal with juniors. There is a difference. We don't take the same stick with everyone. These are all parts of Vaishnava etiquette. Our dealing with karmis may be different. Our dealing with our juniors will be different. They are all very nicely explained by Narada in Srimad Bhagavatam. When dealing with superiors, one should serve them with respect. When dealing with equals, one should be friendly with them. When dealing with juniors, one should be kind with them. So there are different ways of dealing. So these are all different etiquettes which one learns in Krishna consciousness. So these are all important things, that this tactfulness sometimes which we may use for materialistic people, maybe some kind of false glorification or scratching their back, in order that they may become Krishna conscious. It's like Prabodhananda Saraswati says that sometimes we can use this, that yes sir, you are a very great man, isn't it? Now, that thing we should not use amongst the devotees. False glorification just to get your work done. To push Krishna consciousness, sometimes we may have to do this. We know, just like Prabodhananda Saraswati says, Dante, in your teeth you take a straw. You bow down before the person and say, yes sir, you are a very intelligent man. But for the time being, you forget about all your learning and just take what I am giving you. Isn't it? So there we may be little tactful, we may glorify his material achievements in order to give Krishna consciousness. Now that dealing we should not have in midst of devotees, falsely glorifying, because we are not knowing. Falsely glorifying somebody, you are pampering his false ego more. Rather than helping him, you are putting more obstacles in his spiritual life. Genuinely, we should not fail to glorify. Genuinely, we should glorify. But not for the purpose of taking out what I want. I want a vehicle from the authority, so I'll go and glorify. So, Prabhuji, you are so nice. So, not that kind of thing. So, sometimes we become diplomatic in our behavior amongst the devotees. That should not happen. Diplomacy should be used to correct someone when you have a goal that you are thinking about his welfare. Diplomacy should not be used to vilify somebody. Here we are seeing Daksha is using diplomacy, tactfulness to offend Lord Shiva. This is not a use of tactfulness. So we may also use, you can think like this, isn't it? Actually we will be ignorant, we will be envious. And tactfully we will be saying, no, what I am going to speak is very truth. This devotee, he has done like this. Isn't it? Not this kind of tactfulness. Second, very important thing which Prabhupada is saying, as far as envy, from very beginning he was envious of Lord Shiva. So we can see this. Our behavior depends upon what we carry in our consciousness. If we carry enviousness in our consciousness, then there is no doubt the result will be offenses, which we are going to see for Daksha. So right from the beginning he is envious. And then what happens is, when a person is envious, he only looks for opportunity in order to put down that other person. Enviousness is there already. He's just waiting for an opportunity. When opportunity comes, I will give him. So that is out of enviousness. So, whole Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for becoming non-envious. Nirmatsaranam satam. Isn't it? Actually, we do not understand that this envy is our enviousness to the Supreme Lord. Krishna is telling Arjuna, I am speaking to you this whole Bhagavad Gita, the most confidential knowledge, because you are not envious of me. Anyone in this material world, even though may not be directly, he may be thinking, how am I envious of Krishna? One is envious when one does not recognize the real position of someone. When one does not recognize something belongs to someone and he tries to occupy that position which belongs to someone and not to him, it is envy. He is the Supreme Master and we are also trying to become Lord of all I survey. I am also trying to become Master. This is enviousness. When we realize our real position, that is humility. When we realize I am servant of Krishna, I am not master. I am eternal servant. Dasa, Dasa, Dasa. I am not master of masters. I am servant of 1,000 times I am servant. That is our understanding. And that is the definition of humility. So, when enviousness is there, he cannot actually see the reality. His real knowledge becomes covered. Otherwise, if he was actually knowledgeable and not envious, he would not have offended Lord Shiva, speaking so harshly against him. Even after knowing that Lord Shiva is spotless in character. Prabhupada is saying in the purport, he knew that Lord Shiva is spotless. And in order to cover up whatever he is going to speak, he is taking shelter of saying that neither I am envious nor I am ignorant. Whatever I am going to speak is in knowledge and it is without any envy. Because, see, until and unless we keep out emotions, we will not be rational in our dealings. If we can learn to keep emotions separate, then we can deal rationally. This is a quality of great saintly people. When King Rahuguna, left and right he was insulting Jada Bharat did not become emotionally surcharged with all that offenses Rahuguna was speaking. He did not become angry. Why? Because he was very knowledgeable, filled with real knowledge. And then he enlightened him. He said, you are calling me fat, you are calling me this, you are calling me haughty. But all these do not belong to the soul. These are all designations of the body. Today, I may be carrying your palanquin. Tomorrow the whole situation may change. You may have to carry my palanquin, and I may become the king. So why should be one falsely proud about some advantageous situation which one has attained in one temporary life and fails to see the reality of this temporary life, in this temporary situations in this material world? Isn't it? So why Jada Bharat did not become affected? Because pure devotee of the Lord, he is in full knowledge. And that is why he is able to deal with mana, apamana, dukkha, sukha, equal in all. Why? He knows what is there. He may be calling me fat, he may be calling me thin, he may be calling me like a haughty animal. What does it mean? It has no value, because I am not that. I am very much aware. I am a spirit soul, part and parcel of the Lord. So, when one is in full knowledge and he identifies himself in his real position, he is not affected by all these things. What happens is we are too much in bodily conception of life, so it affects us a lot. Whenever there is glorification, then we become filled with false pride. And whenever there is disrespect, we become vengeful, envious, angry. Isn't it? So, if we become more and more Krishna conscious, then automatically we will be able to keep out all these different kinds of emotions which actually, like enviousness, anger, which affects our dealings with devotees. That is why we have to learn in the association of devotees, we have to learn etiquettes of how to deal with devotees. When we are in the materialistic world, what we learn is from the culture of different upbringings we have been brought up with. Our friends, our parents, our relatives. But now when we are in Krishna consciousness, we should be ready to change. We cannot give this as a reasoning, Prabhu, this is how I am. This is how I was brought up like this. There is no doubt. Vedic literature says, Kalau Shudra Sambhavat, everybody is like a Shudra. But culture is important. At least when we become Krishna conscious, our culture should change, our quality should change. We see this example. Mrgari, how much envious he was of animals. How much envious. But see the change in him. He has become so kind to everyone. So this is what we should see, that actually in Krishna consciousness, our real qualities as a devotee of the Lord will come out gradually. They will be uncovered. Because it is said that one who becomes a devotee of the Lord has all good qualities. Sarvai gunaha tatra samasate suraha. Harav abhaktasya kuto mahad guna. Outside sometimes we may praise some people. Prabhu, we find sometimes this person is so humble. Our devotees are not very humble. Sometimes we may find and we may compare. But harav abhaktasya kuto mahad guna. Actually, that is not their real qualities. It's all diplomacy. People you will find very diplomatically they deal as if they are very respectful in their behavior, all those things. But actually it is nothing more than their mental concoctions. Their real qualities will come out when they are faced with challenge in their life. Devotees will pass the test of challenge. They will fail. Because these qualities are not some mental concoctions. These qualities are real qualities. So, Vaishnava etiquette does not mean that you have to speculate or you have to, but we have to polish. We have to polish our behavior. We have to polish our ways of dealing. Because we have learned in our past life in some other way, and now we have to change that direction to deal in a different way. And how do we do that? With knowledge. Application of knowledge is important. Now I am dealing like this, I should deal like this. Just like Brahmananda Swami, he explains in one of his dealings with Srila Prabhupada, he asked Prabhupada that other devotees, when they all come, they bow down before you. I don't like to bow down. I don't feel like bowing down. What should I do? You see? So Prabhupada said, no, you should still bow down. So when you bow down like this, slowly, you will understand why I should bow down. You see? Because the culture in Krishna consciousness, whatever we are learning, Divya Jnana Hridaya Prakashito, it will all become enlightened. How we should behave, how we should not behave, all those things. So we will stop with this. Any questions? Maybe one question. Yes.
Previous class also said that while discharging our duty, if someone becomes dreadful, then it is okay. We cannot help. So how we can understand? We know that it should be parallel.
Yes. We have to see every situation is a unique situation. We cannot apply the same rule for every situation. Depending upon different situation, we may have to act differently. So, sometimes we may have to speak truth, but in a way, others do not get offended by that. That is an art we have to learn. Suppose, say for example, there is a senior devotee and you disagree with him. Rather than saying, Prabhu, I don't agree with you, whatever you are saying. You may say, Prabhu, my understanding I feel is like this. Please correct me if you feel that this is incorrect understanding and there is a better understanding. Isn't it? So, it is the presentation of the same truth only. But you have learned the etiquette to present. That is the difference. In Vaishnava's culture, you have learned how to present properly. That is called etiquette. Isn't it? Just like Prabhupada is saying, inquiry has to be there, but not in a challenging way. Even Prabhupada says, otherwise you cannot learn anything. You will not be able to learn. Even to the Guru, one may inquire, but there is a method of inquiry, not challenging, submissively. That is an etiquette you have to learn. Same question, one may ask the spiritual master in a challenging mood, and it could be in a submissive mood. Understood? So, in a different situation, we have to see. Yes. Yes.
Continuing the same question. When we leave others like this, the other devotees will say, actually you want to become really with everybody, so you are dealing like this. You don't want to present the truth. You just want to be good with others, want to mention relationship with others. So you are dealing like this. Actually you are not presenting the truth. But our take was just an administration at that time then present the truth. It's not about our understanding. So which one is correct? Present the truth or they say that directly want to be with others instead of with.
Okay. See, Prabhupada gives about a story. There was a thief, and the thief, whenever he was stealing, that aunt who was taking care of that thief never pointed out that you are doing wrong. She always directly or indirectly encouraged him, and later on he had to repent. So we cannot be in that situation that be goody with everyone. Even if somebody is doing wrong, be goody with him. No problem. Keep doing. So that I can maintain some good friendship. You don't become envious of me. You don't become angry on me. I maintain a good relationship. And I don't even see that actually there is a black spot. And that has to be pointed out. I may not be in a position to point out, but I can tell someone who can point out and correct him. See, these things are very important. Just like, say for example, if my neighbor has done some mistake, one boy of the neighbor, I correcting him, he will not change. But I tell his parents, they correct him, he will listen to them. So I should know whether I am in a position to correct him. And there are only two ways. One is either you have a very good relationship with him, that you can pinpoint and tell him and he will not take it negatively. If you have that good relation, you should not pat him. You should point out in a friendly manner that, dekho bhai, this is not good. Every time you meet me, you talk so many negative things. You may be very good friend to me, we two may be very good, but this is not a good character. Somehow or other, you have to, if he is your good friend, if he is not in good relation with you, it will not matter. Even if you pinpoint, he will not listen. He will think, who are you? Neither you are in good relation, neither you are my authority. So two things should be there. Either thickly related or in authority position. Who can correct him? Then only. Unnecessarily correcting people is not good. They will not take it seriously. They will offend. So better is, if you are actually looking for his welfare, either you have a good friendship, you can tell him, or you take it to his authority and then he can be corrected. But it should be corrected One should not take, I want to be in good relation. That happened with one devotee. I would not name anybody. And later on he revealed that because of that he was into so many different problems. Because somebody did something wrong, unauthorizedly, and he did not come and reveal because he wanted to keep him in good books. He knew it is wrong, he is doing wrong, but he wanted to be good with him, did not want to spoil his relation with him, and allowed him to do unauthorized things, which can become later on a great big deviation in person's mind. Isn't it? So that should not be the idea, to maintain some goody-goody relationship, that I encourage indirectly something incorrect also. That is what happened later on when that thief was brought and he was given the punishment of being hanged. Judge asked him, do you have any desire? He said, yes, bring my aunt. And when that aunt came, he bitterly bit her on the ears. So judge was shocked. He said, what happened? Why did you do? He said, this aunt is that reason that today I have to be hanged. If she had told me earlier, even once, she never told me that I am doing wrong. So, you can see Prabhupada gives this example. So we cannot keep a blind eye to something which is happening wrong to say that let me be good with people. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki